And we're live. I think we're live. It's Polygon, everybody. And Jeff, myself, is by myself right now. Because right now we're seeing if Matthew, Chef, my co-host, is going to be able to be on because he's having phone problems because he gets on the Hangout with his phone. It's funny, he's back in the country and now his phone doesn't work. Last week he was in Mexico and his phone worked fine. So, yep, we'll see when he comes on. I'll make a snide joke about that, but we're probably going to preview next week's fun. I'm sure next week is going to be fun. We might talk about the anniversaries. A bunch of anniversaries are coming up and have since passed. So we'll probably discuss them this week as well. And if I have to do the show by myself, I'll discuss them with myself on the show with you people, or the people that are watching. Ew. So, and I'm doing it live. Well, live on Saturday, the 21st of May of 2016. I'm doing this live in my apartment where it's 79 degrees in my apartment right now. And I refuse to turn on my air conditioner. I do not want to turn my air conditioner on, my wall air conditioner that I'm looking at right now because I'm in my living room. And I have yet to turn it on this year. I'll probably turn it on to find out it don't work. Well, the thing about it is that wall air conditioner is mine because I bought it. So it's mine. So I'd have to replace it if I have to buy one. Yippee. So hopefully it's going to work. I should just turn it on just to have it on, but I'm not going to have it on now because it's not hot enough to have it on yet. So, but I should test it out. But anyway, back to what I was going to discuss because I'll make a remark about Matt's phone when he gets on, if he gets on. And whatnot. Let me make sure he's not sending me something. No. So we'll see if he comes on. If he does, and if he doesn't, so we are going to have some active weather next week, and of course, next week's episode is, excuse me, it's going to be around Memorial Day weekend. Now, typically, and I'd have to go back and look at this because I have the schedule. I don't believe we have ever done a show on Memorial Day weekend, and I'm going to go and look right now. So bear with me because I'm going to go and look because I don't believe we've ever done a show on Memorial Day weekend. Because we typically you take that weekend off, but since we haven't had guests of late, and we've kind of just been going off the cuff of late, I'm going to check. That sounded terrible. But it also seems like the weather just gets plain nasty. Now we had 2 years ago we did it on Memorial Day weekend. Oh, that's right. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay. Matt Laban's episode was in 2014, was on Memorial Day weekend. That's right. Oh yeah, and Steve Hilberg, the person from the Midwest Climate Center, was last year. So yeah, we've had shows on Memorial. I thought we did. We didn't do it. Oh well, I guess. News to me. This is how bad it is when my mind is blank that I can't remember when guests were on. I mean, we've been doing the show. Well, I've been doing it. Matt's only been on here for the last couple of months, but I've been doing it, except for a few episodes where I wasn't on, since March of 2014, outside the first 2 episodes, which were done in 2013 in the summer. So after a while, you forget who's been on when. You don't forget who's been on, because for those that would watch this on YouTube, tape delayed or, well, taped, you would see that it shows the Polygon, the little icon thing, which if you're going to watch today's episode, just a minute, I'm going to, whoops, nope, no, I don't want that. That when I typically show I have just the thumbnail. The thumbnail is the show, Polygon, and the episode number, or issuance number, as I call them, and I've always called it that for some time, but, so, oh no, oh. Okay, wait a minute. And it's probably going to start opening. Yep, it did. Oh, great. Yay. Stuff flying all over the place. Typical computer. But anyway, so while we wait for Matt, if Matt comes on, which I'm watching his thing to make sure if he does come on or if he doesn't, that the weather is going to get active this week. Hooray, hurrah, because it's been dry lately. And I saw a thing where it said, I'm tired, so I'll mention that I'm very tired. Anyway, that we've been fairly dry lately, and I saw an image that showed that western Iowa has been getting quite a bit of rain, while eastern Iowa has been getting pretty much nothing. So we need rain, and my hands can attest because I mowed. No, I don't want to upgrade. Wait. My hands can attest because mowing a yard that is somewhat bumpy on dry ground that tends to bounce around, you then tend to have a hand, whoops, that if we can show it, there it is, right here. Hi there. That is a blister that I got mowing. And I only get them really badly when the ground is dry. So it's been very dry. But the best thing I like about the dry ground is you're not slipping and sliding. Because my mom's yard, which I mow, is horrendously bad on when it's even wet or damp. So, and that blister was from Friday, and I mowed the rest of the yard earlier today, and I went and got my with my mom. I went and got my niece, and we celebrated our birthday, which was yesterday. She turned 6. So we did the stuff there, and then I came back here to my apartment so I could do Polygon. So that's what we're doing right now. But anyway, back to where I was getting at. So this is how bad it is. When I go off the deep end or off tangent, and everything goes crazy. But we're gonna have some active weather this week, and let me make sure that okay. So there's some severe weather going on right now in the plains. I could, in fact, we'll just go ahead and do that too, because I don't know, might as well. So wait a minute. Oopsie. Stuff's going all over the place. Okay, okay, so let's do that too, and then I'll get back to what I was talking about before when I got interrupted. Come on, okay. So this is what's going on right now across the country. You can see we have some severe weather, some watches out in the plains and up into Montana, Wyoming. Some severe thunderstorm warnings. We have a tornado watch in Kansas and far southwestern Nebraska and eastern Colorado, and some on the Texas and Oklahoma Panhandle, eastern New Mexico. And that activity is going to be the beginnings of what could be several days in a row of severe weather. I would easily take a very good guess that from today, including the watches that have been issued today through Memorial Day weekend, which is next weekend, we will probably see upwards of 50 to 60, probably I'll say 60 severe thunderstorm and or tornado watches, because you know that they number the tornado watches and severe thunderstorm watches. I'll bet between now and Memorial Day weekend across the country we'll have 60. So if anybody wants to take a stab at that, we'll see if there's a possibility. Whoops, we don't want to present that. Yeah, we don't want to present that. Okay, whatever. But anyway, back to what I was talking about earlier about the guests, I think, because we haven't had guests in a while, so we kind of go off the cuff. Well, except for when I'm on by myself, and then I can tend to go crazy. But because, for example, when I talk about the thumbnail, I talked about the thumbnail for those that would see the thumbnail. That, for example, here's today's thumbnail, which you can kind of sort of see. It's kind of, see, you can see this lovely thing right here. To the Polygon, so you see all the people that have been on. Well, most of the people have been on. Some are even covered up. And then there's this gap in the middle because there hasn't been enough people on to have me cover it completely up. So that's today's thumbnail, which I'll honestly tell you that I made like 45 minutes before the show started, because I just have to change a few things around and get it done. So, but we are trying for guests again, because since we're getting into the summer, I think it's going to be a little bit easier getting people around, hopefully. So we're going to try again, and we're trying on that. But going back to this severe weather, this is reminiscent. It reminds me a lot of like 2000, I think it's 2004 and 2003, where we had several days. It seemed like days and days and days and days and days in a row of severe weather. It's reminiscent to me also of 1995, for those that would remember 1995 in the Texas Panhandle. There was still quite a bit of severe weather in June. All you got to do is look up those tornado videos we showed you a few weeks ago. Just look them up, and if you looked up the original Vortex project, you'll see a lot of tornado videos from Vortex from 1995 in June. That would also, which ended the finale of that, was Pampa, the Pampa tornado, which was on June 8th. So that's it's reminiscent of if you're going to have days and days and days of severe weather in a row. I think we're heading into that. So when I'm already tired now, my guess is going to be is next week I'll be completely comatose. So we'll see what happens at that time. So, oops. But this week we had some. Let me do something. So wait a minute. Let me X that out, and I better X out Twitter, or I'm gonna, because having Twitter and stuff is just a mess of trouble. Anyway, so we've had some anniversaries. Unfortunately, we have more anniversaries coming up. Yesterday was the 3-year anniversary of Moore, the Moore 2013 tornado, and that's the one that the F5 that went through Moore and killed some people. I cannot remember how many people it killed, but so there was some stuff about that was going on. But tomorrow, May 22nd, is the 5-year anniversary of Joplin. Now, for those that know, I have have been keeping tabs with this. People would know that I was in Joplin about 4 or 5 weeks before the tornado. I was there in April of 2011 because that happened to be our stopping point. My father, who has passed away, and myself, when we went to the NASCAR race in Texas in 2011 in April. And the overnight stop on our way down there was Joplin, because I didn't want to go through Kansas. And for the fact that Wichita was our stopping over point going back home. Anyway, back to the story. So, and most people know that I was in Joplin, and then 5 weeks later, a tornado comes and destroys quite a bit of the town, kills over 160 people. So I saw everything as it was beforehand. And I saw what it looked like right after, all the damage and destruction and whatnot. And Google Street View, God bless it, it shows what it used to look like, what it looked like right after, and what it looks like today. Now, with my own eyes, had never seen the damage in Joplin until this past fall when I went there and saw it with my own eyes. And it is kind of eerie. It looks probably that a blessing in disguise that unfortunately 162, I think it is, people that died, that those people died to make everything better. It seems kind of rude and kind of crude in some ways. The hospital that got destroyed, they rebuilt it in a new place. It's not in that location anymore. It's down by the interstate now, I might add. So that they got a new hospital out of it, which is a bigger, better hospital. And I've seen that. It's a nice hospital, driven past it. A lot of businesses have come in. They've built up a lot of new stuff. It's really nice now, but unfortunately, you get nice things, you have to have tragedy. That's kind of the sad thing about it. But so there's going to be some stuff on Sunday. I know that Mike Bettis from the Weather Channel is in Joplin, and he's going to be doing stuff on the Weather Channel tomorrow. Because for those that would know, Mike Bettis actually was in Joplin right after the tornado hit, and there's some stuff there that there's YouTube video of him when he's just there talking with people that are trying to find people in the rubble, and it's emotionally draining for those that would want to watch, because you better be prepared, because it's kind of sad. And if I'm thinking and remember right, the person that they were looking for, I think, was one of the fatalities later on. I think, I'm not sure. The where they were was right close to the hospital in Joplin. That anniversary is tomorrow. More 2013's tornadoes anniversary. The 3-year anniversary was yesterday. I mean, like I said, I think it was last week, that you could take any day in May and it's an anniversary of something. So anniversary of May 21st. I don't know what happened on May 21st. There's probably something happened that day, but May 22nd, 5 years ago was Joplin. So there's lots of books about that, and we had Doug Hetty on. He's at KOAM in Joplin, although I think it's outside of that. But I digress. He's down there, and it still is, mind you. So their station and all the stations down there will likely do something, or have done something, with the 5-year anniversary of the event. And then, if you want to keep going on the wonderful, wonderful Tornado Fest events, we're going to be coming up on the, I believe we're coming up on the, we're going to be, I think it's next week, probably in a couple of days, we'll have the 3-year anniversary of El Reno. We'll have anniversaries of something. It's kind of a bit all over the place at this point, so. But we'll see. I don't know if Matt's going to come on. I don't want to end up cutting the show off after only about almost 20 minutes. But so we'll keep going for a little bit longer, and if it doesn't happen, then we'll just drop off. But anyway, but I will mention the severe weather, because I wanted to mention the severe weather chances. So let me go and put those up, because there's a lot of them. And it might take me an hour to do this. because we haven't had any weather, exciting weather. Oh, by the way, last week it was cold. This week it's warm. So, I mean, what that's why I usually would discuss what's been happening in the weather. Not much. There, or less around here, nothing. Now, there was a very distinct MCS a few nights ago down along the Gulf Coast, and that was interesting. But here, it's like meh weather. But anyway, so that's why excuse me, I didn't really discuss the severe weather, or I mean, the weather around here the last couple of days, because there hasn't really been that much. But let me right now screenshot the severe weather chances as we look. Now, reminder, we're taping this on May 21st. So if you're watching this much later, you're going to find out what happened, or already know what happened. This is the ongoing severe weather right now. There's the severe thunderstorm watches right here. Tornado watch, severe thunderstorm watch. Here's the risk area today. You see here where I am at in here in Iowa, nothing's happening. So that's the risk area for today. Now, when I pop up the day 2 risk, that's day 2, which is Sunday. You pretty much can see there's a slight risk of severe weather from Canada to Mexico. So pretty much the Dakotas, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. Now, there is a hatched area where there could be some enhanced area, say central South Dakota around maybe Pierre down to North Platte, and then the Texas Panhandle down into West Texas, I would say. Lubbock, Amarillo, maybe just west of there, down to, say, Midland, Odessa, over to Abilene, Sweetwater, and then up to southwest of Wichita Falls, maybe Archer City, southwest of there, somewhere in around there, like somewhere in that area. Don't get me started on trying to find out do cities properly, because I'll mess them up or some such thing. But so that's what we have for tomorrow, or the risk area for Sunday. Day 2 is Sunday. So, I mean, when you look at it, just wait until we get to the exciting part, because it's going to get better, folks. Day 3, this would be Monday. As you can see, there's a slight risk down Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas. May see some up here where there's the marginal risk up through Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin. But the better chances look to be south, and as you can see, the hatched area, the enhanced area, probably southwestern Oklahoma. So I would say the area from, I'd say I-40 to maybe about just west of El Reno, maybe Clinton, Oklahoma, down to, say, Mount Scott or around Lawton, down to about Wichita Falls, and then the area up down to Abilene, Sweetwater, and then the area back toward Childress and Vernon, Texas. So that area is going to be the main threat for seeing some active weather on Monday. And I hear Matthew, so Matthew, you have to hush because I'm continuing. So, and then that's the severe weather on Monday. And then if you thought this is getting good, oh, just you wait, people. The severe weather is really going to get exciting the rest of the week. So let's bring up the severe weather threat. This is why when I'm tired now, there's day 4. There's day 5, there's day 6, wow. There's day 7, and day 8, nothing's happening. So let's look at this again. This is day 4, so this is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And at this point, if I'm tired now, how do you think I'm going to be after this Friday? So I mentioned this earlier for math. So I'm going through the severe weather risk for this week as to previewing this and why I'm going to be tired and comatose at the end of next weekend. So
yes, I think the entire website is going to be pretty taxed in the personnel department next week.
Yeah, I already took a whoopsie. We don't want to do.
Wow, there's like 9 of me.
Yeah, we want to stop presenting. Stop presenting because I was. But what I did was I took guesses on how many severe thunderstorm and tornado watches will be issued between now. That's including the watches today because there's already several. and
Right.
the end of Memorial Day weekend. So Monday of next week, which means not this Monday coming, but the Memorial Day Monday. I
Right.
said 60. I think that's too low, but
How many?
60.
I'll do 65.
Yeah,
That's
I want to,
guess.
because right now I think there's been.
Oh boy.
What did you
I
do
gotta turn
now?
my video off. My connection is not doing so well.
Yeah,
Okay, there we go.
yeah, we do. I always take my video off unless it's like important for some reason. I already showed everybody my lovely blister from mowing yesterday, so
Oh wow, nice.
and it doesn't look good. So today we have had.
I'm sure you saw my lovely racing stripes on my eyes.
Well, what happened to them?
See them? Right here?
Oh, those things. Okay.
Yeah. Those are from my sunglasses from A, this trip that I took to Cozumel, and B, from my class that I was taking today.
Yay, it sounds like fun.
It was. It really was a blast.
So,
Today we actually got to ride motorcycles and stuff.
all right.
Practice some skills. Practice how to. The most difficult skill that I say we practice is how to make a sharp turn. Using the assistance of the rear brake.
So you're learning how to ride a motorcycle.
Yeah.
I thought you had already been riding motorcycles.
I know how to ride per se, but
You just
I
want
don't
to
know how
make
to do
sure
it with
you get
safety.
it right.
And I'm not very good at it. Like I can get around town and stuff, no big deal. But
No Harley
like some of the emergency evasion skills and stuff like that, those things I have hardly any practice on. So
yeah,
I'm doing this to kind of get my feet wet again,
yeah,
type of thing. And I'm learning a crap ton.
yeah. You just want to get a Harley so you can look cool. You want to chase tornadoes in a Harley.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because I'll tell you one thing. I don't know if you've ever ridden before.
No.
But if you've ever driven with the wind broadside to you.
Oh God, no.
Imagine how it is on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Where everything's exaggerated. Everything's enhanced.
That's the thing, because I saw a bunch of motorcycles when I drove over to get my niece today. And there was a lot of people riding today because today was a nice day.
Yes.
Comparatively speaking, that it couldn't be nice while you were gone, but oh well. But nice nevertheless. So, but that's because I didn't mention anything about the weather the past week because nothing happened. It was boring around here. And then I did severe weather stuff, and that wasn't exciting enough, except for the fact that there would be severe weather. But then we have, because I never got to this because we previewed it, and I did the anniversary stuff. And if you want to go back into it, we can, because there's so many anniversaries. Joplin's anniversary's tomorrow. Moore, Oklahoma's was yesterday. I mean, it's like I mentioned.
El Reno's upcoming.
Yeah, and it's like every day is an anniversary or something. I mean, Gerald, Texas, I think was in May of some year, in
May 27th, 1997.
Yeah, May 20th. So it's coming up. So everything's coming up. So
I think we're getting to the point in the year where you can only pick this time of the year. You can only pick the absolute most notable events because there's so many events in this time of the season.
Yeah. And the problem is there's some days where there's multiples.
Yeah.
So especially in May, you really get into the multiples. I mean, it's kind of sad to a certain extent because when I was talking about Joplin, which is tomorrow, and Mike Bettis is there doing stuff for the Weather Channel. since I was there. And I, of course, have been to Joplin since the tornado. I was there last fall. So, but the interesting thing is, and people can still go back and look, because Google Street View, you can go back and look at what Joplin used to look like from Street View, because they do not erase it. They give you what the current view is of the last time they drove the roads, but they can go back and you can actually see what it looked like right after the tornado hit, because they went through the part of Joplin that got hit, I think a month or less than a month after the tornado. So there's still debris everywhere and damaged buildings. So I don't know if we want to try to do that. I might. In fact, heck, let's just do that. We'll just do that.
That sounds like fun.
This, and there is a video. I swear, I wish I could find this person. They live in, I think, Australia. And he was on a storm chase with Roger Hill's group, and they were in Joplin during the tornado.
Daniel Shaw?
No, it wasn't Daniel. It was a storm chase group, and the guy was a foreign person. In fact, a bunch of people were. I'll send you the link. You may not want to watch it now because that might kick you off. But anyway.
No, I won't watch it now.
But I will tell you this. Unless you want to get off, watch it, then come back on and discuss it. But no. yeah, watch it, and then, because all you really need to do is just watch the part when they're driving through Joplin, and you can shut it off. Because they're like, this is the typical people are like excited to see a tornado, then they're excited, then they're freaking out because they're in the path, and then they're scared to death. They go from yay tornado to oh my god, we're going to die.
Yeah.
Did they? No. But it's scary nevertheless. So
I've been through that one time too many, so I don't think I need to see that video. But I would like to see it, not for that perspective, just to see another view of that Joplin tornado. So that would be cool. Okay.
In fact, we're just gonna go and just look at the video. So I'm gonna mute it. So we're not gonna hear the people. So, but we're just gonna do this.
Good, because there might be language.
Well, yeah. Okay, so I assume you can see the video.
Yes.
Okay, you see this Payless shoe source right here?
Yeah.
Right here? That is the northern extent of the tornado damage.
Okay.
The tornado is to your right.
Okay,
way to the right.
Is that debris in the air that I see in the top right of the frame?
No, the tornado's not there. It's way off. You're looking south. That's just the car, the way the car looks.
Oh, okay. That's like the windshield or something.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop sharing for a brief minute because I'm going to go and get the street view. So, because I'm like, we should do this. Because I mentioned this before. I was in Joplin 4 weeks before the tornado, 4 to 5 weeks before the tornado. In April of 2011, when my father and I went to the NASCAR race in Texas, our overnight was Joplin.
Okay.
And no, our hotel was down by the interstate, so it was not affected. In fact, the hotel that Henry and I stayed at when we were coming back from Oklahoma City was in Joplin. It was the hotel next door to the one that my father and I stayed at.
Huh. Wow.
So, and that's because I picked it. Anyway, so I gotta do this gobbledygook, but I thought, I'll do this. So let's see. Give me a street view. Come on. Okay, we'll do this. Thank you. It's giving me range line right by the academy. Why not? Okay. There's the Wendy's, and there's a Panda Express. There's a Come and Go. There's the Walmart.
There's a Come and Go in Joplin, Missouri.
Oh, there's a bunch of them. There's There's Casey General Stores in there too.
Huh.
Okay, there's where Payless is now, but that's not where they were. No, I don't want to go that way. No, I don't want to go that way. Stupid thing. Okay. Now what I want to do is I want to go to this. Yes, 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 yes.
Let's see. Let's see.
Now, just a minute. I got to get to the beginning.
Oh, okay. I apologize in advance if you hear a lot of sneezing sound. My dog that we put up in doggy daycare while we were in Mexico now has kennel cough.
Oh God, that's
so he's a little sick. He's a little sick.
And it's not the fault of the kennel. It's gonna.
No, it's him. It's him because he has really bad separation anxiety.
Yeah.
If you don't follow a specific routine with him when you leave, then he freaks out. And since going to that kennel was not part of the routine, then he just freaked out for like 2 days. And he gave himself kennel cough.
Yeah. Okay, now I gotta find out where I'm at, because here's the bad thing. I cannot see where I'm at. I have to go back to Joplin, what it used to look like, so I can find out where the heck I am. Okay. Okay. So I found where I'm at. So yeah. Okay. So you see the Payless, correct?
I do not. I see.
Well, you don't yet because I haven't put it back up yet. Oh. So just a second. It's called Jeff doesn't know how to do a video properly. Okay, here's the Payless.
That makes two of us.
Okay, you see this Payless?
Yes.
Okay. Now, that's what it looked like 10 minutes before the tornado hit.
Okay.
Now, this is what it looked like after, right after. Ready?
Man.
That building, this right here, is the Payless. What it used to look like.
It looks like FEMA trailers there.
There's the building across the street. That used to be a Burger King sign, you can tell. But, and look. There's where the tornado was. And as you can see, there's the northern extent. This sign right here that's bent over is the northern extent. All the rest of these buildings were not affected. So this is the northern extent of the damage.
Yikes.
Now, that's what it used to look like. Now let's turn it around. Look at all these trees. See the trees?
Mm-hmm.
And now they're gone.
Man.
That is creepy. And now, here is what it looks like today. And there's the Payless. And there's a Come and Go. And there's a strip mall in now a new place. Because they rebuilt they redesigned everything on this street. This is Range Line for those that wouldn't know.
Is that a McDonald's right there that you just went by? Is that like one of those new fancy McDonald's?
No, there's no McDonald's.
Oh.
This? No, it's an empty strip mall. But you can see there's still empty stuff here. But you can see there's a few trees trying. Some of the trees did come back, but as you can see, and we're gonna keep going down this way with this video. So we're gonna go back to the video. As you can see, this house is destroyed. This is destroyed. Everything you see, and they're all freaking out. Red lights. And you're going to see something interesting because it's Silver Lining Tours. That van, and that's the tornado. It's over there. This is not...
It really does just look like a big, giant black mass.
Yeah, they're... And now the light's green. Everything you see in front of you will be destroyed. Everything.
Now here's my question: how far away from that? How far away from the tornado are they? Right there at that point in the video. How
There's
far
the
away?
Academy.
How
That's
far?
the old academy.
How far away from the tornado are they at that point?
At the time of this, I think the tornado was probably west of the hospital.
So it was a few miles away still.
So I would say 2 to 3 miles.
Okay.
By the time that they got to the interstate on range line, the tornado was, at that time, I believe, just about to cross range line, probably about 1.5 miles north of them, because they got hit by the RFD.
Oh, okay.
So now we're at the academy. Okay. So we drive down this road. And this is what the exact same way they went. There's the academy. Right there. Nothing left.
Man.
And I think I just, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Because let me pop this back on. So see, I wonder if, I think this popped up back because I screwed something up. So it should show the academy as it looked after the tornado. Like how the billboards popped back. I was like, oh, the billboards are first, evidently.
Yeah.
Building second, billboards first.
Put the ads up first.
Yeah, because it's like half the traffic lights weren't even back to. I was like, no, put the billboards up. Do you need auto rates? Well, I don't think anybody's going to care about some auto rates. Okay.
Auto rate.
Now, we're going to get to an interesting thing that occurred because there's something that did occur. There's something that did occur. So I'm going to go back to the video because there's something that occurred at this strip mall. Okay, this strip mall. You see, so you're going to see that in the video coming up. It's across from Academy. So watch. This is the thing that freaked me out. There's the billboard, by the way, right here.
Of course.
And there's the strip mall. You see this bank thing? Did you see that?
Oh yeah, the ATM.
There it is.
A lot of feedback coming back.
Am I getting feedback?
I am.
Yes. Oh, I am? Okay. Sit right here.
It's weird that it took the ATM, but not the structure around it.
Oh, we're getting to the good part. Okay. Wait a minute. I just passed it. Just a second. See this car?
Mm-hmm.
There it is.
Huh.
It is the same car. It's a Dodge Intrepid. Same car. That is why you do not ride out tornadoes in cars.
Bingo.
I looked at that. I had to look at this video 3 or 4 times when I saw this, and I'm thinking, that's the same car. You never get to see the before and after shot of a tornado, of what a car does in a before and after. But you do here. It's the same car.
You need to save that and put like a Storify or something on it.
Because
that could be put out there.
Yeah, I mean, but since this is on Google, it's like
car before tornado, car after tornado equals bad.
So see, this is where it gets worse. You see people driving around. Now, there's one thing right up here. I think you see somebody flashing their lights off up in here, like they were just going shopping or something. It's like, really? Oh, it's this Mustang. That's what it is. I think it was the Mustang. No, yes. I don't know what these people were doing. No, there it is right there. They're like, eh. Now, you notice, right now, this is where you're going to see the power flashes. You're going to see them coming out.
That was not a power flash just a second ago? That was
lightning? This, I think, was lightning.
Okay.
I think.
It seemed like lightning to me, but I'm on a phone, so I couldn't be too sure.
Yeah. So they're at this point, they are like, oh, nice shot of a woman. Their thing was they at this point, which I don't have the audio on, they're like, oh, maybe we should take shelter in the Home Depot. Now, for those who would remember, the Home Depot in Joplin was destroyed.
Yeah, that Home Depot.
And there were fatalities there. I don't think so. Now, this is what made it bad. It was Sunday. It was 5:30 at night. For those that would realize, there's a lot of stores that are not open late on Sunday. So,
and most malls or most like large shopping centers close early as well on Sundays.
Yeah, typically at 5 or 6.
Yeah. Yep.
That was a power flash, by the way.
That one is.
You don't see the power go off until they're past the thing. The tornado is right there. You see it? It's right here.
It's real faint on my phone, but I can make out the edge.
You're going to see it right there. It's down there.
Bingo. Yeah.
They're still in the center. And these people, this is when they start freaking out. They're still on the damage path. This is still bad. They can't be here. That Enterprise got hit. I'll tell you when the tornado part ends, they're still in the damage path. They're still in the damage path. That come and go got hit. By the way, they did that come and go. I think they tore down and they built it further north by the Walmart.
Huh.
And this is where the tornado damage ended. This building wasn't hit. That tells you something. They're now safe. As long as they're not stopping, which they weren't. But now you're going to see the power go out. They're safe now. The tornado's over there. It's to the west-northwest. This is, by this point, has passed the hospital, probably, by this point. See? Can you see it? It's very hard to see it. You can kind of almost like...
I see the wall, but not the actual tornado
see, like,
itself.
Some curvature right here.
Yeah.
Like the mezzo, something right about here. And
that might be the wall.
That might be the wall of the beginning of the tornado. Because this, I think, is the only video from the front side of the tornado. There's video of the rear, but not from this is the bear's cage, more or less. Yeah. This is not, especially if you're in the bear's cage in a town, or in this case, a city. This is the worst place to be.
Yeah, that's bad news bears.
And did you see how many cars there were? Evidently, this sign's already blown out already. It's not. It's a KFC sign.
Vacated building?
No, it's KFC still open.
Oh.
Oh, those people aren't getting their food. That was lightning, by the way. Tornado's right there. And there goes the Lowe's, and there goes the power.
Yep.
Now there's no more power. Now you can kind of see the tornado. Looks kind of like it's right in here. This is, and I can skip ahead because let me try. I'll skip ahead to they're down. There's the La Quinta. See, and you notice now they're being pelted by rain. They're in the RFD.
Yep.
So the tornado is now just to their north or slightly north of northwest.
So in essence, right behind them.
Yeah, but they're not. It's not coming at them.
Right. It's behind them, moving to their left, toward their.
So then, what do? They get on the Interstate 44 and go east. The Interstate 44 in that area goes northeastward. The tornado started turning to the right and eventually crossed their path again.
Ugh.
At the end of the video, they're getting on another highway, and there's a truck stop there. That truck stop would be hit by the tornado. But the tornado at that point was not anywhere near the strength it was. It was at an EF2 strength at that time. And the tornado was moving southeastward then. It is the weirdest tornado path. especially for it being an EF5 tornado, it moved in an east-northeast, and then it moved east, and then it dived southeastward, and it made no sense. It was one of the weirdest things.
So would you say it would be the direct, not the direct exact, but close to it, a converse to El Reno, the El Reno path? Because the El Reno path kind of made a U shape.
Well, this one, I think it just made a right turn, because all tornadoes if storms make right turns, they get stronger. And this one, the tornado decided it wanted to make a right turn. But you used to be able to, and I'm going to bring back the share screen for the street. I don't have the street view because I took that off. But now, where I was Range Line Road, which is right here. This is this road. The hospital that got hit was was over here. You can say it's quite a ways.
Can you still see the scar from that view?
You used to be able to, but you have to really drop down to see it. You can kind of sort of tell. You can really tell in the Tuscaloosa tornado.
Yeah.
You can see that one. This one, not as much. It's a little harder. The hospital in question, it's a little further east than I said. It's right here. McClelland at Gabby Street, or what is known as 26th, I think it was. Right here is where the hospital was. And where they started their fun fest was at the Payless. The Payless was right here. Everything from here to about here was destroyed on Range Line. Because the tornado was going in a slightly east of northeast pattern. It turned east, and look at where they're going. They're going up 44. Notice it's going in that direction. Here's the truck stop that they exited onto this highway and went south. The tornado crossed and actually started dropping to the southeast. There is video of a semi that got flipped on 44. It was right here. In fact, I think in this same video that I had on earlier, you see the truck having been parked on the side of the interstate, waiting out the storm, and it gets flipped.
Huh.
So, I mean, that video, it was done by a person in Australia. And that it was the first time, if I remember, he had ever been to the United States to storm chase. And he sees Joplin. That is the worst tornado to have to witness. And there was a lot of foreign people there on that particular trip. So it's kind of sad because they're like, ooh, yeah. And they're all excited about going to the storm shelter or something, which they never did. They outran it. Would I do that? I wouldn't get anywhere close to that because they were taking risks. But
yeah, I do not like to go anywhere near populated areas when I'm chasing.
Yeah. But the tornado, I could, and let me go back to, because Joplin High School is right there. So here is the intersection. I got to find the intersection. There it is. This lovely dirt patch right here that you can barely see because it's kind of there. This is the hospital that got hit. It's not there anymore because I mentioned this earlier. The hospital, they moved, and you can see I believe it's the memorial now, but the hospital's moved. There is a hospital down here that was a separate hospital, which is surprising. The hospital, which was St. John's, that's this one. It's now called Freeman. I think it's Freeman Hospital now, I think. Has moved. I think that's the other hospital, and that's part of it. This is the other hospital that didn't get hit.
Right.
The other hospital's down at the interstate, and that's where they moved it. And if you notice, too, this is also the intersection where Mike Bettis was. And the neighborhood that Mike Bettis went through the rubble is this one. And there's the video, and I mentioned this before you came on about that. that there's the where he went. This is the neighborhood right here.
Oh,
because I noticed that when I went back and looked at it, that he was actually at Cunningham Park, which is right here. And we'll get on Gabby Street, which is known as 26th. And this is what it looks like. This was what it looked like in 2012. So I believe there's the remnant of the hospital. They were in the middle of tearing it down at the time.
Yikes.
But then here's the thing. There's what the hospital looked like in 2007. Look at how nice that looked. And then look at it. Sad. And you look at everything surrounding it. Now, this is a year after Joplin, mind you. This was 2012. Look. It looks barren. Look at all the... You go down the street. You look like you're going through a prairie. There's nothing out here. Very few houses. And it's sad because they haven't updated.
You know what that reminds me of? There's I used to watch this show called Jesse James is a Dead Man. It was a show that, you know, the West Coast Choppers guy, Jesse James.
Yeah.
He did of him basically performing these certain stunts, but he builds the vehicles or the equipment that the stunts are performed in himself. And in one of those, he simulates a police pursuit. And they actually found an old abandoned Marine Corps base out in Southern California that was completely abandoned, like what you would think a post-apocalyptic suburban neighborhood would look like. Like there's still dishes and cupboards and stuff. And this thing's been this base that had on-base housing. It's a base called, it used to be called El Toro.
Yeah.
It just, everything was left there. Everybody just vanished. And it was like 40 years ago now, or 45 years ago. But that's what that looked like.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Yeah. It's sad. They built it back up. Because unfortunately Google Street View hasn't gone to the rest of Joplin since 2012, evidently. Rangeline being a major highway, they've been able to go down that at least recently, because that was back in summer of last year when they last went there. So you can see everything has been built back up. There's more restaurants there now than there was before. And like I said before you came on, that it had to take a tragedy of 162 people dying to maybe make the city look a bit better than it did. That might sound crude, like I mentioned earlier, but it's kind of sad that you have to have a tragedy to make your city look better. That's kind of like the sad thing, because Joplin could have made their city better, but it had to take a tornado to wipe the slate clean to start over. And now they have a lot of better stuff now. So that's the remembrance for the people that unfortunately passed, that you got better stuff now. So you have to thank those people and all these businesses for coming back, because these businesses
at least remember.
Yeah. And these businesses, and I'll mention this, some of these businesses didn't have to come back. Home Depot, They didn't have to come back. They didn't have to rebuild. They could have said, we're not going to rebuild. We're just going to leave. Walmart could have said, we're not going to rebuild. We'll just tear it down. They rebuilt. Everybody rebuilt. The Academy, they rebuilt. The Pizza Hut, where the guy got swept. There's the thing with the Pizza Hut on Rangeline, where the guy tried to get the door shut and couldn't, and he got blown out of the freezer and into the tornado and died. They rebuilt that Pizza Hut right in the same area, right in the, I think it's the same place.
Huh.
So they rebuilt everything. The Payless is in the same place. I mean,
that brings up an interesting point, and it goes back to, I don't want to sound selfish, but it's the only way that I can think of to kind of be the segue. It comes back to my military service. You know,
yeah,
today is Armed Forces Day. And I was looking around when I was down at the motorcycle riding course at Hawkeye Harley Davidson. Yes, shameless plug. Hawkeye Harley Davidson and Gavin McGrath. I'll be expecting a check soon. But I was down there. They had a free lunch for all veterans down there.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of people that had never served a day in their life that were taking that lunch, that free lunch. And I know the people that organized that. I know them very well. And I do know for a fact that that lunch was put on specifically for veterans. It wasn't just, hey, let's all come down and celebrate veterans.
Yeah.
You know, this military holiday, by everybody having lunch. It was, no, let's thank them by giving them free lunch. Let's feed these service members.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of people that had not served a day in their life that were taking that free lunch. The point of that being is that anybody that goes through any sort of sacrifice, any sort of major sacrifice, because we all sacrifice at some point in our lives. I'm sacrificing time away from my family to do this podcast.
It makes it sound like this is like, I'm forcing you.
No, I'm doing this of my own volition.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about real struggle for a greater good.
Yeah.
Like somebody going through a tornado.
Yeah.
Anybody that is listening that has ever gone through a tornado, took damage, knows somebody really close to them that either took damage or sustained an injury or a death or something like that. That is sacrifice. Those people need to be remembered and respected and honored.
Yeah.
Not take advantage of like the people I saw down there today. I didn't say anything because
you bit your lip because you'd be better off by not saying anything than except you're saying,
because I wouldn't have said it in the right way.
Yeah, because you would have probably said something that probably would have made it look worse.
Exactly.
And made you look worse.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm just not that good with words, so I just, like you said, I bit my tongue. So and
here's my beef. Why we only give veterans free meals just once a year? I think they sacrificed enough. They, or at least did, because there's a lot of places that have veterans discounts for a lot of places. I mean, where I'm not like free meal. They sacrificed a lot that a lot of people should be doing stuff for veterans. And I mean, in that case, when you're having lunch that's not at a place of a restaurant.
Correct.
I think the problem is you can't really say, well, you were and you're not. Whereas at restaurants, you have to show that you were there. I'm not trying to sound kind of like I'm the veterans people police and you're not a veteran and you don't get lunch. No lunch for you. So I'm the veterans Nazi, evidently. So that I'm gonna no lunch for you. Anyway, I've gone completely off base because this is a weather show and we're all of a sudden talking about the soup Nazi from Seinfeld. Anyway,
that's okay. It deserves to be talked about more and more often.
But when we're talking about, let's say, like when we go back to Joplin with the tornado, the businesses came back, everything came back, and there's stuff that was there now that wasn't there before. Would they have come if the tornado hadn't come? I would probably think a very good chance no. Range line was developed. Tornado comes, everything's wiped off. You see strip malls in places where there was no way they would be able to build a strip mall. They would have had to tear things down. Businesses that are already there, they would have to be torn down. And there's no way you would do that. Here comes tornado. Big badass tornado comes and flattens the place. Kills people, unfortunately. That's the sacrifice. Somebody died. As sad as it was, 162 people dying in one tornado is too many.
Well, here's the exact point, though. We're reaching the exact point where it makes it that rebirth or regrowth possible.
Yeah.
Because the tornado is doing the demo work for free. The tornadoes,
except it demoed the stuff that we don't want, people's lives.
Exactly.
Unfortunately,
that's the bad side, but the good side of it, if you can think of it that way, the silver lining, is that it did that demo work that the city and the county and the state probably would have had to shell out millions of dollars a piece.
Oh, lots of it for
free.
And now everything is new.
Yes,
everything has been fixed. It's like this is their second chance, because Joplin, honestly, and I was in Joplin like I said, in April of 2011, a little over a month before the tornado. The town looked like a normal town of 55 or 60,000 people. It was like, we drove, and this is one weird thing. We drove through neighborhoods, my father and I, because we had nothing to do. We were bored. So we drove through town. So it's like, oh, let's look through town. We drove through neighborhoods that would later become flattened by tornado. How were we supposed to know that? But anyway, so we drove around and did that. And then after the tornado hit, I thought of this, because this was interesting, and I'll get to this after the fact. I thought, what would have happened if I had been in that Baymont, which was down by the interstate? That's the hotel that my father and I stayed at. If I had been in Baymont and that tornado had come when I was there in April and not in May.
Well, let's follow that. What would you have done? You're at Baymont, okay? Let's set it up. You're at Baymont. You're hanging out. You're probably just about to start dinner, or maybe just finishing dinner, depending on how late you.
Yeah, we ate it.
Like
we ate at Denny's next door, which is still there, I might add.
What time?
It would have been around the time. Well, wait a minute. Excuse me. The tornado Joplin hit at 5:30, or around 5 to 5:30, something around there. Maybe close to 6. I can't remember. It's in the 5 o'clock hour.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, we're talking about April, so it was darker earlier. We walked, and it was still light. So I would say probably around 5:30 to 6. So
okay,
I would just say that
you're sitting down eating dinner, and let's say, just for the purposes of the argument that I'm about to make, or the question I'm about to pose is a better way of putting it, your phone's acting weird, you're not getting updates, you're not getting like data's not coming through, and not because of weather or anything, it's just acting wonky that day, bad network area, whatever. So you're not getting tornado warning alerts, you're not seeing a whole lot, you don't really know what's going on. You could probably tell, because you're a weather nerd like me, that oh, there's storms outside,
well, I can give you something better.
Because you're not an idiot.
I don't have a smartphone, so that makes it easy for me.
Wow.
I do, though. I do this. I take a weather radio with me everywhere.
Okay.
I didn't go when I went to Oklahoma City because there was not going to be severe weather in October. So, continue.
Okay, so take out the smartphone thing. Okay, you don't know. You eat dinner, and at some point, I'm going to assume everybody's going to stop what they're doing because they're realizing that there's an F5 tornado barreling through their town. They don't
know what the size is. They just know a tornado is coming.
Yeah. Well, that word's going to spread quick.
Yeah.
That it was a violent tornado. I know. Word like that spreads quick, and you don't need internet for that word to spread really quickly.
Yeah.
But you're down at dinner. That happens. EF5 blows through. What would be the first thing that you would do?
At the Baymont, if I was there, since the tornado didn't hit that, thank goodness.
Not in terms of reacting to the situation like, okay, we need to take shelter, but okay,
After
the tornado's
that.
gone. Holy crap, we were 2 miles south of the path.
Or less than. It was less than 2.
What do you do? What do you do?
I don't.
Speed style pop quiz.
I would say I probably would not want to go down up to the damage at all, because I don't want to. I don't know what I would have seen up there. And given that I would have had my father with me, he was the type of person that didn't want to really get into something of that nature. So I would probably be, and there would be a lot of people that would probably say to stay out of the area. So I would probably listen to them and stay out of the area. We would probably, if I remember, have no power. I don't think there was any power in Joplin at all, even down there.
Oh, in the whole city?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
We would not have been even able to stay at the hotel unless they had generators, which I don't know if they did or not. We wouldn't have been able to stay, probably.
A lot of hotels do, believe it or not.
Yeah, so I would assume we would have stayed and we would have continued on our way the next day. But I honestly think I would have probably just stayed out of people's way, because especially if there's like a situation that's dire and people's lives are at stake, that getting in the way of somebody is not my business. I shouldn't be there. So I'd probably just let the people that are supposed to be there be there, and let the people that need to be taken to hospitals be taken there without people getting in the way. The problem is I'm in the minority. So many people will be like, woo, let's go and look at the damage. It's like, really? I mean, good God, Google waited at least a week to 2 weeks before they went. They didn't see, and from what we saw earlier when I showed it, I mean, that shows enough. You don't need to see it 5 minutes after the tornado's gone through to see the destruction. The destruction will be there for quite a number of days and weeks. I mean, you can still see the scar from the Birmingham Tuscaloosa tornado on Google Maps today, and that map is not like old. That map, the street view you see, not street view, the Google map you see when it's on the
airplane view, as I call it.
Yeah, it's relatively redone every month or 2 months or so, except in the winter, because of course you don't want to see snow. So it's done quite often in
and the only time that is delayed for any one given scheduled area is if there's excessive cloud cover that day.
Yeah.
But then they reprioritize it. Okay, it was cloudy this day. The next available clear day, bam.
Yeah. Boom. So that's why, I mean, some places the scars last longer, but there's always going to be a scar there, or the scab.
I just think it's weird how different people react. Well, not weird, but interesting that different people would react different ways. Because me, and I think I'm part of the minority on the other side, I think I would want to just run in.
Well,
and just try to do something to help the process.
Okay, well, here's what I'm thinking. Your military. That's your military instinct, is to go to the destruction and go to the people. That's your distinct. I'll get it right. That's your instinct, is to go where. That's like those commercials they have, like, the army and people and all those people, they go to where the destruction is. They're like, they go there. And I can understand, for somebody with a veteran like yourself, that you would tend to do that more than me, who's never served, would want to stay back because they don't need me nosing around and screwing up. Because what would I do? I don't have medical training. I do.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. And this is the great equalizer. And this is where you're going to be like, huh? I don't have any medical training either.
Well,
I have rudimentary training. I can patch up a sucking chest wound. I can intubate somebody, and I can start an IV.
You're better than some.
Which I can guarantee you, I could teach you how to do it. I could teach a blind baby to do that stuff in about a day.
Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah. But I know.
I understand some people just don't have the stomach or the brain for that. That's totally cool. But yeah. I'm saying if the person in front of me is willing and able to learn and go through the learning process, I could teach them in about a day.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the actual technique. Now, reacting to the situation while performing that technique, that's a whole another can of worms. That's why those schools in the military are a week plus long. My combat lifesaver school was 4 days, 4 very intense days, because it wasn't just, hey, today we're going to start an IV of saline solution. Who's really hungover right now? You're going to be the victim. No, okay, you're going to be the victim. You go. It's not like that. They start you in the room early in the morning. You're tired. You're just getting your coffee. And all of a sudden, they're going to shut the lights off. And they're going to go, bam, 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 bam. They're going to start pounding on stuff. They're going to disorient you. They're going to put you under extreme stress as much as they can in a building situation, in a classroom situation. And then they're going to turn on the lights. And all of a sudden, there's going to be someone laying there bleeding out. Fake, but, know.
Okay.
And you're going to have to react. And that's why those classes are that way, is to get your mind like that. But the fact still remains. I do not have any more training except for those few really, 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 really basic techniques.
Yeah.
That anybody can get. Anybody can go and get those, and they're not expensive. So it's not like the training I have is special in any way, shape, or form. That training, you can go down to Kirkwood Community College, any community college really, and go and get those skills in about a week, and it'll cost you about $180.
Yeah.
But so I say that to reiterate the fact that my skills that I have, while are above some, they're not special.
Yeah.
So I don't have that. I don't have an EMT card, and those guys, they're practically doctors nowadays.
Yeah.
At least EMTs in the military. I don't know how it is on the civilian side. I'll have to talk to my buddies that are EMTs.
It's close.
Figure it
out enough that they can't go and start. The only thing I think the difference is with EMTs here on civilian, and that may be even in the military as well, is they can't give out prescriptions.
That is correct.
That's the only thing that's keeping them from being actual doctors.
But here's one difference, though. And I'm not sure how it is on the civilian side, but I know this is true on the military side. A medic, i.e. EMT, can administer morphine. Or
I had more
adrenaline.
I had morphine when I had my gallbladder problem.
Okay.
At a hospital. I'm trying to think, because I think it had to be done by nurses and stuff. So
they can inject morphine. They can inject adrenaline, also known as atropine, and 2-pan chloride, which is the antidote, basically. It's basically what makes you come down if you have an allergic reaction and you have to use an EpiPen.
Yeah.
The other side of an EpiPen, which is what they give you at the hospital, is 2-pan chloride. They can administer that as well.
Yeah.
On the military side. I have no idea how that is on the civilian side. You know, the guys that ride in the ambulances. I don't know how that is.
Yeah.
But I don't have that training. But so I'm
We're
sitting
eventually
here
getting
and
back to
I'm
the
literally
weather.
wondering what is different. What is different between you and me? Because I barely have more training, and I do stress the operative word here is barely have more training than you.
Yeah.
But yet you're one to say, hey, whoa, you know, I don't think I should be there. And me, I'm just like, let's frickin' move.
You
know what I mean?
Yeah, but then you put me at the situation of when I was down there with my father, and he was the type of person not to want to get involved or get into that situation, and I kind of would go along with it because I don't want to. But if I was by myself, I probably would still stay back, but I would probably be more curious as to wonder. Curious, but then the problem is curious means getting in the way half the time.
So you would actually have a decision to make.
Yeah, and then if I end up having to stress about it, I'd eventually just say, what's going to lead me to having no stress? Going down there would not, and I probably wouldn't go. Now, if I'm there, you're putting me at the Baymont. Let's put myself at the Walmart that got hit. Then it changes. Because you're putting me away from the damage.
Right.
If I'm in the damage,
I did that on purpose.
If I'm in
I was about to ask you the same question.
Okay, because that changes everything. Now that we're in a different situation. If it was Walmart, I would probably look to make sure there was people that were being taken care of and try to take care of some people, try to get them help. And then once I did, then at the area I was at, after that, I would probably get out of the area at that point because there's no business for me to wander around. Now, the problem is the Walmart in Joplin, the one that got hit, it's still there, is kind of in an area that's kind of back. It's off range line. So to get out of the area, you have to probably get onto range line. So you would probably run into other areas that people would say, we need help in X or Y or Z or whatever. And you may go, but that's a situation which unfortunately I wasn't there. So, and this happened with like Petrowski, who was there, Mike Bettis, who was going through rubble near the hospital, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where it totally changes because you put me in an area where there was no damage. Put me in an area where there had been damage. I was there. First off, I'd be freaking out because there was like, oh my gosh, tornado. The first thing I'd think of is, yay, I got hit by a tornado. Yes, I'm that bad. I would probably be excited for 1 second that, ooh, I got hit by a tornado. I'd be so happy because for 1 second, mind you, because I've never seen one. And as from what we saw in the video, you couldn't see it that well. From behind, yes, you could see it somewhat. Because I think Petrowski has video of it.
Yes, he does.
But from the front side, there is very little, if any, video. And the video that I showed was one of the very few videos you see of what the area looked like before the tornado hit on range line.
Okay, now let me ask you this. And you can choose not to answer because it is a little it's a little personal. And it might affect you. So take it with a little bit of a grain of salt.
Ooh, good, fun.
But I know what I would do if I were in said Walmart. Like, I know the specific actions I would take. Like, the second the tornado passes and it's safe enough to come out.
Okay.
What would be the first things you would do? After all the looking around and going, holy crap, a tornado just hit us and everything's destroyed. Okay, here we go.
We're trying to get out and make sure everybody is safe because, for example, that Walmart lost its roof and stuff blew all over the place. Everybody, I think, at the Walmart was safe. I think. Maybe the
But
mentality. I don't know. But
let's ratchet it up a little bit. Okay, you're inside this building. It's torn to crap. You know,
trying to get out. That would be
it's torn to crap. There's people screaming everywhere. Like
oh, there was
it's probably the only sound you can hear is people screaming and
crying.
electrical lines just snapping everywhere, and you know, the chaos. I call it the fog of war.
Yeah, it sounds fun.
What specific actions are, like, what's the first thing that you're gonna do after you realize, okay, I have to do something? What is it that you do?
Oh boy. Probably try to find a safe way to be able to get out of there, because there's no way I'd want to stay there. Given that you'd probably be trying to think. They've had them in multiple places in the Walmart, from what I can remember, or any building. They would always have them in at least multiple places that are safe rooms. So
Correct.
Trying to be able to get out without trying to get your feet injured, and hope to God you actually didn't wear sandals, which if you went to Walmart, you'd be wearing shoes.
Like I'm wearing right now.
Yeah, but trying to find a safe way to get out, making sure there would be people that needed to be calm, or if somebody was injured, which you would try to get them to medical attention. And then once you got out into the open, of course, if I had been at that Walmart, my car or vehicle would have been destroyed, at which at that point I would have been like, oh, great. Because we drove down in a rental, which would have really been fun.
Yeah.
So that would have been like, great, lovely. So then I would have complained that the Dodge Intrepid at the ATM did it. So
that's interesting, because the very first thing that I would do is the people that are immediately near me, like the people that I could reach out and touch with my hand.
Yeah.
And I'm actually making the gesture with my hand, like I'm actually doing it.
Yeah.
Those people that are near me, I'm checking them, making sure they're okay, rendering aid to them as much as I am able.
Yeah, making sure they're calm to an extent.
If they need to. If they're bleeding, take off a part of my sleeve, wrap it up.
Yeah, tourniquet, yeah.
Well, not tourniquet, just a bandage. A pressure dressing.
Yeah, to try to, yeah.
Pressure dressing. They work wonders. And I do that, and then I move to the next closest place. And what I would do is I'd start working my way through that building, basically setting up casualty collection points. And that's something that is taught in the military. It's taught in the military to mostly everybody. You know, you're in some way involved in your training of setting up a casualty collection point, which is basically an impromptu triage area. You know, those that are ambulatory or able to walk but injured are over here. Those that, I hate to say it, but it's true, the ones that don't look so good, they go over here. The ones that are injured but they're able to still render aid, still help other people, i.e. help you, they go over here. And then you divvy them out to where you need them. And I do that with every safe space in that building that I could get to.
And when you think about it, in a case like a tornado hitting Joplin, like it did 5 years ago tomorrow, they do it on a broader scale. We're not talking about one building. Now we're talking about one neighborhood.
Yeah, which is multiple buildings.
Because I do remember that they did something similar, because they take military type skills and they just expand it out.
Yeah, they translate it.
We're talking about neighborhoods now. So, yeah, I can understand where it goes with that.
Yeah, but that's a really, really difficult thing to do, though. Is taking 300 people from a neighborhood and hold on, my dogs are fighting, playing but fighting. Okay, there we go. Now we're better. It's not that bad or not that difficult to do that for one building, but doing it for an entire neighborhood, you know, where you have 300 people descending on one area at one time, and they're all wanting help now.
Yeah.
That's the great, and I think that's one of the great equalizers between, you know, people reacting in a military situation, whereas people reacting in a disaster situation. People in a military situation, they already kind of get it.
Yeah.
They already understand, you know, they understand before it happens that, you know, this could be the result. Whereas regular people at home, they're not exactly planning on having that happen to them today, which is that whole without warning thing, I think.
Yeah.
You know, you don't really wake up planning, oh, hey, I'm going to get my roof ripped off. I'm going to have 3 walls in my kitchen completely.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I'm
thrown
sure
in
the
my
city of
backyard.
Joplin is really having a discussion about a tornado hitting the south end of their town 5 years ago. And they were thinking, ooh, now we can build all this stuff that we really have wanted for years. So, I mean, you always have to plan for the worst and hope that you don't have to do it. But in some cases, aka Joplin, places and towns in Alabama and in the South during April 27th, and more the bazillion times they've been hit, and any other town that gets hit by massive tornadoes, that they have to prepare for what would have to be done during the triage part, when they have to get the people out, find out and divvy up, like you said, and then what they have to do after the fact.
Correct.
And it's not that, and we can use this to the flood from 2008. It's been 8 years, and you look at Cedar Rapids, which is the face of the 2008 flood.
Yep.
And you look at it today. It does. There's a lot of downtown Cedar Rapids. I was there. I was in downtown yesterday. It looks nothing like it used to.
Agreed.
Yes, there's buildings that are still there. There's still the old buildings, but there's a lot of new buildings there now. They're building the one skyscraper. They're about to start building another. In fact, multiples. They're about to build multiples. Downtown Cedar Rapids, probably at the 10-year anniversary in 2018, is not going to be even the same as it looks now, because we'll have one skyscraper done, which has already been topped, and we're going to have another one going up.
Yep.
Possibly what could become the largest skyscraper in Cedar Rapids, the tallest, possibly. I mean, the city is much better off than it was before. Now, the thing is, if the 2008 flood had not occurred, would they be doing all this stuff? I highly doubt it. There would be businesses in Cedar Rapids downtown today that would still be in business, that aren't in business now because of the flood. And I'm talking about, for example, and people wouldn't know what these places were, like Smulikoff's. My guess would have been is they still would have been in business today, because they went out of business, not because the furniture thing was going under. It's because their building was going to be used as part of the flood wall, and that they were going to lose part of their building for their stuff. So they were like, we'll just close, because they were going to move to Westdale, which they never did. So
Correct.
In turn, there's a lot of other businesses. Would New Bohemia in Cedar Rapids, for those that wouldn't know where that is, that's south of downtown, would that have gotten the way it looks today if it not for the flood? Because we're taking, instead of tornadoes in Joplin, now we're talking about a flood. In the flood, nobody died, but it's the same type of situation. Another natural disaster, flood, tornado, hurricane. We could keep any natural disaster except maybe volcanoes. That, I think, would be a little bit harder to do. So,
yeah, volcanoes might be much more difficult.
but when you have to think about that, or earthquakes, you could kind of do the same thing. Although that tends to be even about the same, if not longer, depending on what goes on. In fact, unless you're in Japan, it seems like Japan, here comes the earthquake, and then it seems like within a year or a year and a half, everything's built up again.
Except for Fukushima.
Oh, well. Yeah, unfortunately, there's where you have an earthquake and then you have a massive tsunami. So.
And then on top of that, just to make it just that extra special, let's have a nuclear meltdown worse than 3 Mile Island.
Well, it was actually worse than Chernobyl.
Really? They're calling it worse than Chernobyl now.
From I've heard, it was as bad or worse than Chernobyl.
Yikes.
Because there is radioactive stuff that has come into the West Coast that's radioactive. Or because they've been preparing people that there could be stuff washing up, and there's been stuff washing up on the coast, West Coast, from Fukushima for years, for the last year or two, since the tsunami and earthquake. Now it's almost over 2 years ago. So, and some of it has been a little bit radioactive.
Mm-hmm.
So, not what I would go, oh my gosh, but enough that you don't want to get near it.
It's noteworthy, yeah. It's more than just your typical X-ray.
Yeah, so, but it's the case with everything, with tornadoes in Joplin, or a flood in Cedar Rapids, or an earthquake in, say, Los Angeles or San Francisco, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The same thing that in some cases, towns, and we may have to discuss this, where towns with the emergency manager person guy, if we ever get him, about people having to plan for stuff, because it's not like there's going to be like, oh, well, there'll be like a tornado in 2018, so we got to prepare now, and we got to do a development thing. I mean, you can't do that. You can't plan for the worst. Well, you can't, but you have to plan for if the worst comes.
Yeah,
and unfortunately,
that's the most operative term. There is you have to prepare for the worst to come
and hope that
like
it doesn't come.
Yeah, prepare for the worst, hope for the best.
And in when we go back to Joplin, what I mentioned earlier, that unfortunately people had to die, which is sad, because, and this may sound terrible again, that and this goes, even transcends out of weather and out of natural disasters, that it seems like things only get done, and now I'm going to go on a rant probably, that it seems like things only get done if people die. Example, in racing, we have to kill a bunch of drivers before something gets done. And I'm about like NASCAR, I'm talking IndyCar, Formula One, etc. People die, oh, we have to do something now. So people have to die for something to happen.
There's only been a couple of instances where something has happened and people survived in racing, where something got done.
Yeah, but all it is,
the most notable for me, anyways, was the John Force crash in 2007 in Dallas, Texas. Are you familiar with that incident?
Is that the one where we're talking about John Force?
Yes.
The one, there was one. I don't know if that was the one that he got injured and then had to be out for a while.
Yeah, he got injured. He was out. He missed
the rest of the year, I think.
That whole season, yeah. What happened was, for the viewers and listeners that don't understand what we're saying, in 2007, at a drag race in Dallas, Texas, John Force's funny car at the finish line, doing, at the time that the incident began, was traveling at about 315 miles per hour. The frame, the chassis of his car, broke in half, and it broke in half right in front of the driver's compartment. You can liken it to like the monocoque inside of an Indy car.
Yeah.
Only it sheared off the front of the monocoque as well. In this instance, it sent John and the back half of his car, which is the driver's compartment, and the rear end, and the tires.
The rear tires, the main big tires. So.
It sent him to the wall in his lane. So he's completely exposed, going into a wall with only 2 wheels underneath him at 300 plus miles per hour. The front half of his car, which made up the bulk of the weight and the mass of the car, which includes the engine, the clutch, the fuel cell, the fire system, went off into the other lane and took out his competitor for that round, took out his car, sent him in the wall. His competitor's name was Kenny Bernstein. Sent him in the wall and made him crash really badly. Kenny Bernstein was not injured, but John suffered severely broken hands and fingers. Both of his legs were severely broken. He almost lost his right foot completely, which is kind of important.
Yeah.
But granted, he was seriously injured, and he survived. But the response that him and those that sponsored him after that was absolutely overwhelming. I would reckon that the response to that crash by, and I'm going to say the names of the people that he sponsored, not for the plug, but because they got involved. They got actively involved. He was sponsored by Ford. Engineers from Ford, and I'm not talking about 1 or 2. I'm talking like half of their design team, and not just the design. How the cars look, like the people responsible for the safety of every car that rolls off of a Ford assembly line flocked to Brownsburg, Indiana, where John Force's shop is located, and said, hey, what can we do to make this better? And they developed a completely different chassis design, one that at the time had never been seen before. They spent, I think the number I heard, if memory serves, was somewhere on the order of about $55 or $60 million just to build this one prototype chassis design. And they sent that thing all over the world to all the best engineering firms in the world of professional racing to put it through its paces in terms of failure points and stress and vibration and this, that, and the other. The list goes on and on and on. The reaction did not equal and by that I mean it was much greater than the result of the accident.
Yeah.
It literally, that one crash, which was serious, mind you, because he did nearly die. I mean, he was pretty badly hurt. But the giant leap forward in safety after that crash was absolutely astronomical. And here's the thing about it: that chassis design failed. It is no longer used in its entirety. There are certain key components today that are used, and they're used the world over in the world of professional drag racing. But that's one of the very, very, very few instances where people got out ahead of it. Instead of waiting for somebody to die or lots of people to die, they actually got out ahead of it and actually did something and changed the whole landscape of their particular profession in the process. So that's all I have to say about that.
Yes, and that's how we've gone off the cuff again and gone off weather again. But it makes sense because I purposely did that because it doesn't take a weather event for something bad to happen and then something to change. For example, there's the talk about The warning process wasn't done right. This was even after April 27th, 2011, where they were talking about the social science and whatnot, which even continued with Joplin. So it's not just about building new buildings and businesses and all this other stuff. It goes to, why does the warning process? Do we need to change the warning process? Which then comes back to the Nova episode, which I discussed 2 weeks ago, and then got so peeved about where they're all about. Well, Nova, when they did the thing about after the tornadoes killed all these hundreds of gazillions people, and they're like, well, this was caused because the warning time is too early or not enough time. We need to know why storms are producing tornadoes. I was like, I'm sorry. That is not why these people died. Most of these people, I was almost like the Nova special, they would not have wanted to talk to Span because they would have said baloney. And he would have probably said swear words because he probably would have, given the fact that they were so stupid. But anyway, he would have said, baloney. There were people that died that should not have died. And they would have said, well, did they have warning process? Was the warning time? Like, oh, please. These people were probably screwing around, not getting the warning because they didn't have the right stuff. They didn't have an app. They didn't have a weather radio. They didn't have all this stuff. And gosh forbid, that day on April 27th, even if you had a weather radio, there was a very good chance you may have not even gotten the warning because unless it was battery operated, you wouldn't have had power. And in some areas, the weather radio wasn't working at all. And then with Joplin, let's go back to that. That problem was there had been tornado warnings for Joplin for upwards of an hour before the tornado hit. So there was and the problem was that, and this goes back to that book that Mike Smith wrote, which I haven't read, but I should probably, about tornado sirens and all that stuff. It's like, ugh. It's like, really, and whatnot. And then, if you thought that was good enough, there was that. This is what's really bad, and I don't know if you remember this. Okay, we're talking about May 22nd,
Right.
2011.
Joplin.
Yes, Joplin. So we're talking about that. 2 days later, there was another F5 or EF5 tornado. Piedmont, Oklahoma. That was another EF5. So, and we're talking about, remember, in April 27th, there was what, 5?
I only know about the Piedmont, Oklahoma tornado because...
that was May 24th, for those that don't know.
Correct. I only know about that because one of my favorite drag racers in the class called Pro Stock, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with that.
Yes.
This guy, his name's Mike Edwards. He no longer races now, but at that time, he was almost unbeatable, and his shop was damaged by that tornado. And he actually, I don't think he missed any races, but that tornado actually, because his capabilities back at his shop were diminished, it actually made his performance at the track suffer temporarily because of that tornado.
Yeah.
Which is oddly interesting, just how racing and weather, even when the race itself is being contested 500 miles away, yet a tornado 500 miles away from said event could lead to somebody's performance being diminished.
Yeah, and we're talking, so it's another case of disasters everywhere. It can affect anybody in
it covers all walks of life.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're rich, poor. It doesn't matter if you have FU money. It doesn't matter if you're the homeless guy on the other side of the street. Does not matter.
Yeah.
We're all human beings. We all have bodies. And we're all susceptible to the same stuff when Mother Nature decides that she wants to give us a beatdown.
Yeah.
To put it, I guess, gangsta style.
Oh, great. Now we're doing that. So, but yeah,
that's essentially what happens.
I'm not sure how we've gotten off of this, but anyway, we've done that. So
I think all of what we've been talking about it all goes towards the randomness and the unpredictability of nature.
Yeah.
I mean,
and for the
just
fact
when
that,
you think that somebody is smart and has this thing licked and nailed down, invariably it will throw you a curveball.
yeah. and swinging it, rounding it back off, that with this week being active, that especially it's going to be random. Could there be and it's the case with like weather. When you look, when we showed the severe weather threat earlier, when you had just come on, and it's like I did today's weather threat, and then tomorrow's, Monday's, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and it was like boom, 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 all over the place. It's random. Could there be a tornado there? Yes. Where? Well, we don't know. It's random. You don't know.
But then again, at the same
that's not
time,
even in that area. So.
But then again, at the same time, there could be a tornado Tuesday in Kennebunkport, Maine.
Well, I don't think so, because there's no time to be severe weather there. But
is it not likely? Of course. But we cannot say right now with 100% certainty that it won't.
Oh, I can say with 100% certainty this is not.
Can you?
Well, yeah. I could look at the models. It's probably going to tell me that it's going to be too cold, or probably they're not supposed to have bad weather. Well, I don't know about what the weather is going to be up there.
But you said one thing. It's probably going to be too cold.
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
Well, before.
And that's not me calling you out. That's me just saying.
No, I know.
There's always that little bit of uncertainty, and that has to be taken account for.
Yeah, there could be an uncertainty. We don't get a damn drop of rain next week. There's probably that probability.
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Because who's going to want to have a Memorial Day weekend where it's raining all weekend?
Not me. But with my luck, be no rain all week. As soon as the weekend comes, bam!
Boom, here it comes.
Yep.
Flooding, flash flooding everywhere. But I want to mention this before we round it up. Today, when I was going back home with my mother and my niece, I saw something, because I'd seen this before. But this one I'd seen, it was better. I saw a dust devil today.
Cool.
Okay. And I got all excited. I freaked out. And I was like, ooh, I got excited. This was between Anamosa and Wyoming that I saw it. Probably
it's a natural vortex. Of course you're going to get
it was probably about 2 miles west of Wyoming when I was going Wyoming, Iowa, not the state.
Right.
Okay. I had seen these little dust devils before. They're maybe like 10 feet off the ground. Oh no. From the ground to maybe 10 feet up. This one went a good maybe 60, 70, 80 feet.
Cool.
Then here's where it gets better. That funnel, that one died, and then 2 more popped up behind it, right next to each other, spinning the same way. And I got crazy. I was like, "Oh my gosh, there's like a multiple bunch of them." I didn't have my camera with me.
Did you have a multiple vortex dust devil?
No, but I was like, that thing was producing dust devils everywhere. That freaked me out. I was getting excited. I was like, if I can get excited about a vortex, if there's something to get excited about, a dust devil would be it. Dust devils don't do anything. Now, some dust devils can get quite strong. They can do damage. But this one was out in the middle of the field. It wasn't doing anything. At first, I thought it was a farmer, because we've had a lot of dry weather, so the ground is dusty. So I thought somebody was either down a gravel road or somebody was out in the field. And then I was like, that thing is spinning, and there was like a column sticking up into the sky quite a ways. I'm thinking, oh my goodness. I've seen dust devils before, but I'd never seen them that tall. So I had to mention that, because we were talking about tornadoes, and I was like, ooh, I saw one, sort of.
You missed the Twister reference.
So, what, the vortex thing?
No, the Twister reference that I made.
Which was?
We got sisters.
Oh, yeah. I didn't see
Sorry,
a
I had
cow.
to throw that in there.
I didn't see a cow, or not. Well, take that back. I saw cows, but they weren't in the tornado or dust level. They were like not in the same place. They were like later in the driving or earlier. I was like, I saw cows. Oh,
I gotta go, Julie. We got
whoever
cows.
I'm calling, we got cows. Whatever. All right,
On that note, it is time
the
to
way you
end.
say it is funny as heck. As I'm sorry, because she makes it funny. So
on that note, it's time to end.
Yeah, it's time
As
to.
Jeremy Clarkson would say, on that bombshell, it is time to end.
Yes, it's time to end because we have to stop or we're going to get ourselves into trouble. But anyway, thanks everybody for joining us. Whether we do a show on Memorial Day weekend, like I said earlier before Matt came on, that I thought, oh, we've never done one on Memorial Day weekend. And then I come to find out we have twice. So we'll see. I might have Matt just not do it and I'll do it myself. We'll see. We don't know.
I think I might be up for it. I'll have to see what the plans are, but I think I might be up for it.
Well, because if Friday is active, we ain't doing it. If Saturday's active, we ain't doing it.
Correct.
And then we might have to do it on Sunday, and then by then we'll be tired because the race is on that night, the NASCAR race, which I'm not probably going to watch, and all that stuff, and it'll probably be active that day too. But anyway, so we'll stop because I'm going off. So for Matt and myself, Jeff, that's the end. We're done with this episode. So the end. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.